we're gonna get into some new stories for the week, right? So our first story relates to the tragic event that occurred last week in Memphis, Tennessee, regarding the death of Tyree Nichols. As according to NBCnews.com, 3 EMTs who responded to the fatal beating of Tyree Nichols were fired after an internal investigation. Robert Long, Jermichael Sidridge, and Lieutenant Michelle Whittaker were found to have violated multiple department policies and protocols in their patient response to Nicholas on January 7th. So, I mean, if any of us tuned into, news cable stations during the last week, you would probably seen that video of Tyree Nichols being handled by the police officers, right? And it's very disturbing, I think, right? And we were hearing a lot of stories about this, right? And there were some national-wide protests going on, and it's, I think, based off of the public outcry of this event. It's great that the people of Memphis, Tennessee, are really saying, okay, this is the work that we got to do. This happened. It's unfortunate, but we got to make some changes here, because we got to make sure that these types of tragedies don't keep on happening. Because yes, it's really tragic, but I personally think the best thing to do is to recognize this happened. Yes, it's bad. We can protest, but I think we can also try to make the best changes to the future, make sure it doesn't happen again, right? And speaking of news, we have some more stories to share with you listeners, and it relates to us here on campus. It's not an international or a national story. So, according to our very own newspaper, the Montclairian, Montclair State University strongly urges its community to wear masks this semester. Montclair State Community Health Advisory Team sent an email to students, staff, and faculty on January 13th, highly recommending the use of masks for the upcoming semester to keep the community safe. According to the Montclairian, although wearing a mask is still optional, chat suggests wearing a mask will, until transmission rates of COVID-19 subside. Who's texting right now? Who is texting during the morning bus? I was kidding. Especially in high populated areas such as classrooms and meeting outdoors when possible. Andrew Meese, university spokesperson, explains the university is monitoring the pandemic the same as when it was first started. Meese said, quote, "As we have done since the beginning of the pandemic, our group of on-campus experts and university administration monitors and assesses the situation. Our campus health advisory team offered this recommendation because respiratory illnesses such as COVID-19 or the flu typically increase during the winter months. So, in an abundance of caution, we want to remind the campus community to take some precautions as we return for the spring semester." So let me ask you guys in the room right now, and Jake as well on Zoom, have any of your teachers brought that up in your classes regarding mask wearing at all?
No.
Not really.
I have one professor who wears a mask
Mhm.
and hasn't really addressed it.
Mhm.
And I actually sat near like the front of the room yesterday, and I kept thinking like, oh, should I be wearing one? I don't really know, but it hasn't really been addressed in any of my
Yeah.
classes, at least.
I mean,
None of my professors have said anything about it either.
mhm.
I'm sure some professors like put it on the syllabus.
Yeah.
I've heard of some professors saying the mask policy on the syllabus too. So, but my professors, I haven't heard anything from them
Okay.
regarding that.
Julia, what about you?
Same goes here. Absolutely. Nobody actually has said anything about it. I didn't really even know this happened,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. And Jake, as your last semester gets into gear, have you heard anything about this regarding your teachers?
Yeah, no one's really said anything at this point. Like, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, all I've heard is just like I've seen teachers wear them,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it for one thing, I remember like last last semester is when they made that switch from saying masks are required to masks are optional, right? And last semester, actually, in one of my classes, my teacher really made like she really wanted there to be a presence of mask wearing, just keep us safe, and it wasn't bad doing it, right? But like me as well, like I've already said, not all my professors did that. They didn't really either didn't wear one or didn't say anything about it at all. And I personally think it was a good thing that they switched it from saying, okay, everybody has to wear masks like always to, it, so we can make our best choices about it. Because I think as young adults, we can think to ourselves, it's not very possible for me to go home right now, depending on how far I live. So
Yeah.
I think by wearing this mask, I'm going to keep myself and people around me safe. Like, in the sense that they're probably the chances of them getting sick, not with COVID, but just with anything going around. Nowadays, there's a bunch of different things going around. So, just as a way to ease that, to say, bring that rate down, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and like you said, George, yes, I'm taking a public health course right now. In my syllabus, it says it's not required, but
Right.
if you want to wear one, keep your community safe, you can do so.
Yeah.
So,
Story kind of makes me like second guess, if I really should be wearing one, because like you said, it's all about keeping people safe.
yeah.
And especially even though it's been 3 years now since it started,
Mhm.
it's still around. It's not
Totally,
going. It's
100%.
not it's not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's not going anywhere for a long time. So
Yeah. But another reason why I think it's good that they made it optional is because and the people in the rec center, if they go there
oh yeah,
for a
I'm
quick workout,
building manager at the rec center. So
yeah,
people were complaining about that all the time with
Yeah.
the
moving
mask.
around,
Yeah.
like having like weights on their shoulders, moving around, doing a
Mm.
lot of aerobic stuff, and having to have that thing on, having that mask on is it's definitely, I think, like I said, George, a very stressful for them. So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, again, that's good that people have that option to.
So in terms of like the rec center handling this at Montclair, it is optional still. I don't think we are going to change it being optional, because I know a lot of people who are, if it goes back to mandatory, are going to be really upset.
You're gonna be mad.
They're going to be very mad. So we're just keeping it
Yeah.
optional at the rec center as well. But I've since masks became optional at the rec center, I've rarely see anybody wearing a mask.
And that relates to the first story we spoke about, one of them, how like the Biden administration is going to, in May, they're going to do away with all this emergency stuff because we're just not in that space anymore. Yes, it's still here. Yes, we should try to keep our community safe as much as possible, but it's not to the same degree as worldwide pandemic.
There is this candy that you might have heard of called M&Ms, and we're getting reports that there are M&Ms. But I'm sorry to tell you that the M&M spokes candies change was actually a stunt for the big game. If you have a crush on the green M&M, you're in luck. She's back.
Yeah.
If you have a crush, what?
Hey, people do. Don't
On an M&M?
no shame. There has been lots of discourse about this.
All right.
Case you were blissfully unaware. Okay. M&M's parent company Mars Wrigley announced that it would be pulling its M&M's spokes candies mascots indefinitely and replacing them with the actor Maya Rudolph. However, the company told the New York Times that the controversial move was all just a PR stunt and that the spokes candies will indeed return at the upcoming big game. Mars Wrigley said in a statement to the New York Times, quote, "Rest assured, the characters are our official long-term spokes candies." End quote. The mascots are taking a break from the mascots are taking a break for the time being. The M&M's big game ad will resolve the situation and bring back the spokes candies. I have to say, yeah, they insisted on using that, and I just won't comment on it. way to spoil the surprise. Like, right? Like, way to like completely give away. Way to just completely abandon the bit as soon as it gets a little spicy.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know.
Commit.
Pretty cowardly move.
I had my TV on last night in my dorm, and I saw commercials featuring what you just said, Jake. Featuring commercials.
Green M&M.
No.
Okay.
With the actor Maya Rudolph. Maya Rudolph.
Oh, really?
And
Okay. That's interesting.
It's a really. I mean, they have the M&Ms for the time being changed their name as well. They're not
Did they?
M&Ms. Yeah, they're
What are they?
They're Mon. Okay, so Manya. That's the name. It's MANYA apostrophe S. Manya.
Wait, what?
Maya Rudolph. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
For Maya Rudolph.
I see what you
And
mean now.
instead of the little M, you can either get M&M with Ma or M&M with Yam or apostrophe S.
That is so funny.
And I guess Manya. I guess
That
yeah.
does not sound like a spokes candy. And I will
I mean
not
it's
accept-
one person. It's a human being. Yeah.
acceptable.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nothing about this is acceptable.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just
Interesting
know,
story.
it's cool that someone that some corporation has found a way to benefit off of the just absolutely brain melting talking points that conservative media can just pump out, because I don't know, it's very funny. That's
Yeah.
the silver lining. That's the positive spin.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely right. Like, if we pay any mind to what's going on in the world of political media, this is definitely been in the news recently because I guess people like don't like the fact that M&Ms have their own personalities. I guess.
I
Like,
think some people are concerned they don't have
mean,
enough personality.
God. Oh my gosh, Jake.
That's
Oh my
like
gosh.
that's actually like what the problem was. That's where it came from.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like, I'm just curious. Like,
There were okay, so from my understanding, this is not a story I followed
personality. Yeah.
closely,
yeah,
but
You just can't avoid it.
yeah.
I believe Tucker Carlson, a man who unfortunately I don't think needs much of an introduction, did a segment on M&Ms on these, these characters, these spokes candies,
Yeah.
and I guess, complained that they just weren't alluring enough.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and this is the real world, and yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Wow.
Hey, well, good news is that they're gonna be back.
Yay.
Gonna be back. So we can look forward to that.
BuzzFeed used to use AI to write its articles after firing 180 employees. After dozens of employees were laid off, online publisher BuzzFeed, known for its pop culture articles, quizzes, and listicles, announced that it would start using artificial intelligence to write its content. OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, will be employed for the initiative and will create custom-made quizzes. According to a memo to staff from CEO Jonah Peretti, he intends to increase AI across BuzzFeed's editorial output in business operations this year. Peretti relayed his expectations of AI to improve creativity and content, but humans would still have their role in providing cultural currency and inspired prompts. He set a timeline of 15 years for AI to, quote, create, personalize, and animate the content itself.
Okay, so I understand. I kind of understand with the second to last line that you read, Jake, about how humans would still have their role with the work that robots would be writing for their articles. But in the big picture, I think we could say that this is a big slap in the face in journalism, I think, right? Because the whole point of sitting down, writing an article, I don't know how, like, on what degree BuzzFeed is, like, journalism, like compared to like New York Times or something like that. But
There was a point where BuzzFeed, I think, was really trying to break into like hard journalism, and it's pretty wild to see, what
yeah, I mean,
was, at least at some point, like a pretty significant force in that field,
and
fully embracing AI, like
yeah,
in such
that's
a
really,
radical way, and in such a
really
way with a pretty blatant disregard for, like, I don't know, human laborers.
I mean, this past Friday on Montclair Newsroom, Hannah Cox and I covered a story where forget the college that this person went to, where they're from, but person created a software that detects when basically an artificial intelligence when a robot does an essay. It detects that.
Yeah.
So, what is like the in what sense is this like moving forward? Because why are people creating softwares to stop AIs from writing real people's things? That's something I'm curious about, because
Like,
you know what I mean?
like, why are they
Like,
employing this strategy?
Yeah, I mean, if
Well, because it's less labor, right? Like any humans
Mm.
doing things is work that needs to be paid for.
yeah,
And when you get a machine to do it, like, right, like this is the idea behind all like industrial production, that, when you get machines to do work for you, you don't have to pay as much.
but I'm just curious about how reliable that robots would be in informing us about pop culture.
Right? No, that's a big thing.
They might just like turn it so okay, so in they might just turn all the articles and just talking about how great robots are.
Yeah. Like suspiciously, like
Get you to think everything's
Mm.
fine.
Yeah.
Not written by
like,
robot.
Grind all your gears.
Cybertron 3000 is looking especially pretty today.
Yeah, but that's definitely interesting. Julie, do you have anything something to add to the story?
I actually heard in my one of my classes, we were talking about how BuzzFeed is like one of the most toxic companies to work for, actually, in journalism, that they're like really not good to their like employees, and this case kind of like proves it, like firing 180 employees.
Yeah.
So also I think that their goal is to just kind of massively produce media, and it doesn't matter like the unique originality of it. They just want people to like look at links and look at other things and like
Yeah.
check out their sites. So they'd rather have robots do it than actual people behind it with like real stories. I feel like they just want to put stuff out there, just like mass produce a lot of
Yeah,
media.
that's-
So it's not really.
Absolutely. And that's totally correct. And like, I think if you even like look at what their content has always been, right?
Mhm.
Like it's always kind of had a bit of a robotic quality. Like, I don't know if you've ever taken one of those quizzes. But if
Yeah.
you've taken one, you've basically taken all of them.
Wow.
I actually felt like they like declined a lot. Like back in like 2014, 2015, I felt like that was their like peak era.
No, they
Like
had
I
a
thought that
moment.
they had a
really did.
moment. Like I was always being like, what type of bread am I? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That was like their peak. And then now I'm like, whenever I see BuzzFeed, it's like it just spams my computer or my phone with like different links. And I'm like, I do
Yeah.
not have time for this.
And I'm pretty sure as well, on the app Snapchat as well,
Mhm.
under the news section, quote unquote, BuzzFeed is where you can find a bunch of stories related to BuzzFeed.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah, because that's the type of news we're talking about here. The news you find on Snapchat.
Snapchat. Yeah.
It makes you think though, like if they're reporting news, like how is there any credibility with a robot? Like,
Yeah.
I was
excuse
gonna
me, can you
ask.
cite your sources? Like, where did you get that from?
I was gonna ask too, like, don't you sign, like, if you write an article, don't you sign it, like, written by so and so?
Yeah.
And then, like, what are they gonna like name all the robots?
This was
And then you look up the name, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a robot. Like, oh,
Can
I
you
knew
sue
it.
them? Like, can
Yeah.
you sue the robot?
MWC Model 4, not Model 3, Model 4. Model 4.
Yeah. Another kind of interesting like aspect of this is I know I don't really know the mechanics of text generation bots that well,
Yeah.
but I know that with image generator AI,
Mm.
how it works is they have a bit of like they have reference images as a sort of lexicon that they take in, and that's kind of creates a pretty big issue with regards to like copyright and credit, because if
Mm.
you know, if the machine is making an image based off the work of a living artist,
Yeah.
like right, like that creates a problem. Like you're like that could be plagiarism.
Mhm.
Well, that goes back to someone just said like, how do we sue the robot? Like, because
Yeah.
that means like the robot could be taking then samples from actual people who have written stuff,
Mhm.
plagiarizing them, and then what do you do from there? I guess all you could really do is take it up with the company. Like in this
Mhm.
case, you
Right.
take it up with BuzzFeed, but I don't really know how that's gonna work. But I see that definitely being something that will happen. It's realistic to happen.
Yeah.
And Nemo, if you try to fight the robots, maybe don't look in your bank account after you post it. Think about saying how robots are bad, because that might go bye bye.
Well,
That might go bye bye.
for robot reasons, y'all are fine.
So
Friend.
to move on to our next story, according to NPR.org, the makers of Fireball whiskey. Okay, I'm gonna have a really bad time pronouncing this.
Sazerac.
Sazerac, thank you, George. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sazerac Company Incorporated are being sued by their customers for fraud and misrepresentation. The mini bottles of the alcoholic beverage don't actually contain whiskey.
Why?
The smaller bottles, named Fireball Cinnamon, are made from a blend of malt beverage and wine, while the whiskey-based products are called Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Upon closer inspection, the product description read, quote, a malt beverage with natural whiskey and other flavors and caramel color. This insinuates whiskey is an ingredient used in the drink when it actually uses whiskey flavor. The complaint says, quote, what the label means to say is that the product contains natural whiskey flavors and other flavors. But by not including the word flavors after natural whiskey, purchasers who look closely will expect the distilled spirit of whiskey was added as a separate ingredient.
Wait, that's so funny.
That is funny.
That's hilarious. Because
Everything I know is a lie.
technically, it does say
I
that.
can't trust anything anymore.
Technically, they didn't do anything wrong.
I was reading about this story, and the reason why is because the mini bottles of Fireball Cinnamon
Mhm.
and the big bottles of Fireball Cinnamon whiskey, as they say, the labels are very, very identical. So when you
Mm.
think you're getting the mini bottles, you think you're just getting a smaller version of the big one, but in that case, you're really not.
Why aren't you?
Interesting.
I don't
Why?
know.
Like, why didn't they?
That would be an
That's
interesting
scary.
question to answer, because
Like,
I'm
why
sure
isn't
like
it
it's
the- yeah.
motivated from something.
Yeah, why isn't it like the same thing? You know, but
I wonder if it's because they want to sell it for so cheap. Like
Right.
malt liquor is like cheaper than like the actual whiskey
Mhm.
it would be to make it like that. That's why I feel like they're only like 99 cents or $1.99 or something like that.
I can't stand
Mhm.
Fireball,
Yeah.
so I don't drink it. But I think it's gross.
I don't drink period, so this is
Yeah, Aidan.
this is just a
Yeah.
really
Only monster in this household.
Yes.
I don't think that either. I don't think that either.
Yeah.
I don't think that either.
You know, I'm joking.
Only monster.
We got water in the studio today.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, this gets the company who makes this product of alcohol back on track. Because it's not good from a business standpoint where people are saying, "What's the big idea with this product? I spent my hard-earned money on this, and it's not what I paid for." But hopefully, as it won't be the case moving forward, as that business goes on. And Jake, can you tell us a quick story before we depart about the San Antonio Zoo?
Yes. No, San Antonio Zoo will let you name a cockroach after an X and feed it to an animal. It's that time of year again. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. If you're holding a bit of a grudge against a certain someone this year, you're in luck. The San Antonio Zoo is offering a special Valentine's Day greeting for exes who just won't bug off. The zoo will name a cockroach after your not so special someone and feed it to an animal. A cold but direct message that you're no longer interested. The annual Cry Me a Cockroach fundraiser will support quote, this will, quote, support the zoo's vision of securing a future for wildlife in Texas around the world, end quote. If bugs aren't for you, donors can choose a vegetable or a rodent instead. All donors will receive a digital Valentine's Day card showing their support for the zoo. You can also opt to send their ex-boo a digital Valentine's Day card informing them that a cockroach, rodent, or veggie was named after them and fed to an animal.
I'm so
That's so cruel.
I love that.
Imagine getting that like message. Like this person named a cockroach after you and fed it to a donkey.
which
Like,
option do you think is worse, the cockroach, rodent, or veggie?
I think the
A
rodent's the
rodent.
worst. The worst.
Yeah,
Imagine getting
I
a
feel like
card like
rodent would hit different.
I
I'd
feel like-
just be confused if someone said somebody named a carrot after you and fed it to a horse. Like, okay, sounds
Yeah.
kind of nice.
You're actually
Yeah, right?
supporting the horse. You're actually doing a horse good by doing that.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the rodent, like they're like you can opt for the rodent instead. I feel like that's the most gruesome option. Like
Oh yeah,
you
right.
can't opt
Then you
from
have
like
to-
the bug to the rodent. Logically, do you get to pick which animal you feed it to?
I won't see why not. Like, why wouldn't you be able to? Right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, it gives people options here.
yeah, I mean, or maybe it could be related to how their relationship with that person ended. They
Hmm.
wanted to
Mhm.
match, like, therapeutic wise. Maybe it's good that certain animal is fed to
Yeah.
kind of
Like
predator.
if they were a snake, just
Yeah.
like
ooh
Yeah.
feed
Oh,
him like a
That'd
yeah.
be good if you can get like an actual snake.
Yeah.
Feed it to like I don't know.
Wow. So I'm curious though. Is there how do you think a program would work from the opposite end of this? If people are really happy with their Valentine's Day relationship, like how would that
they wouldn't do this.
It'd just be a pet store. I don't,
You buy them the
maybe on
pet.
sale? Put pets on sale.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can,
if
like,
you're in love.
If you're in
you
love,
can, like
puppy.
purchase that.
Little puppy.
I feel like people that are in love, like this holiday's for you, but like let us have this. Like let us have the cockroach like
Listen.
feeding.
I'm in a happy relationship, but if I hi Lara, producer here, but if I have the opportunity to name a thing after my ex-boyfriend and I get to feed it to something,
You're
I'm
go
gonna
for
do it. But
Yeah.
you know, I was thinking, am I gonna opt more for a veggie or a rat? Because I feel like rat's like a low blow, but I think I'm gonna go with the rat.
I
What
think
would
I
you
would
guys
go
pick?
rat. I would totally go rat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Veggie
feel like
is
it has-
playing it safe. It's too safe.
It's
Way
a
too
case by
safe.
case basis thing, I think. If they were a rat, like I don't know. You
Then
know?
go for it.
Mm,
No,
I feel like-
Aiden's not agreeing.
I can't really
I mean,
say anything.
I mean, no, yeah. I mean, this is for exes who just don't bug off. So
Yeah.
maybe they're exes who are on good terms with them. You don't know.
I don't know, then veggie's funny.
Yeah, the
Then-
is funny. Give it to
Funny,
Compare it
like,
to a
You
horse.
can give it to
Carrot.
support another animal who can get nutrition off of it.
You could spread love and food by paying for hatred.
What?
And I don't know.
So universal. Everything connects.
I love how the thing is called "Cry Me a Cockroach."
That's really good marketing of it.
Yeah.
Really good marketing.
I like the digital Valentine's Day card. Like
Not
I
even
would
physical, like,
I would
email.
save that forever if someone did that.
Just looking at your phone.
Yeah,
If
thank
they
you
have
for
their
your support to the zoo.
Yeah, if they have the
We are
number
happy
blocked,
that you named this cockroach after you.
yeah, it just automatically shows up on a phone now, just regardless of what it is.
Mhm.
But anyways, listeners, this is the end of the Tuesday Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Enjoy your rest of your Tuesday. Thank you so much, Julia. Great debut job.
Oh, thank you.
No.
Great
Incredible
job,
stuff.
Julia.
Yeah.
And of course, Emily McCormack, Judge Kalasiak, and Jake Goetz, Lara Zaccardi. Thank you for joining me, Aidan Ivers. And here is Yet the Bloom with People Pleaser.